Hi, we're going to talk about writing measurable skills and tasks for data collection. The first part of a measurable skill or task is to write a condition. It is typically what we will present to the student or what materials are being used, but you don't want to be specific enough that you're locking yourself into a specific set of materials. Let's look at the example. Given manipulatives, a worksheet with 10 problems and scaffolded support if necessary, and a pencil, Josh will independently solve 9 out of 10 problems correctly for 3 consecutive trials. The condition is all of that information after the word given. That means what are we presenting to the child? Well, he's getting manipulatives, a worksheet with 10 problems, and scaffolded support if necessary, which is a nice way of saying we're going to fade that support over time, and a pencil. That's everything that we're going to present to the child. That's the condition. For the behavior, it's really within this task or skill, what would this child be doing? So in the same example, the behavior that we're looking for is for Josh to independently solve problems. That's the behavior. For the criteria for mastery, there's actually 2 parts. The first part is what level of increase in the skill or what level of accuracy are you expecting from the student? And then additionally, how many days does the child have to reach that level before you consider them to be mastered? So if they do it 1 day, are they a master at it? Do they need to do it 3 days, 5 days, or so on? So there's 2 parts to the criteria for mastery, and typically it's the second part that we typically let off. So again, looking at the same example, the part that is the mastery level is solving 9 out of 10 problems. That's the criteria that we want to know the accuracy level. He's going to get to 90% for 3 consecutive trials. So he's going to have to get 90% 3 days in a row to show it wasn't a fluke or it just happened he got lucky one day. He's got to do that 90% for 3 consecutive trials to be considered to be mastered. So let's look at some examples for you. What's missing in the first one? Jane will independently read 4 out of 5 sight words correctly for 3 consecutive trials. The missing element is the condition. There's nothing that you don't understand what Jane is being given to do that. In the second example, given a writing instrument or a stamper, Michael will independently mark on a paper as an emerging signature. What's missing there? Is it the condition, the behavior, or the criteria? Well, we know the condition. We see what he's being given. We know what Michael's going to do. We don't know to what degree or what accuracy level he's going to have to reach, or then how we're considering him to be mastered and he can move to the next skill or the next level for this. So again, we're missing the criteria for mastery. In the third example, given her phone number and a distractor, Jerry will independently point to her own phone number 4 out of 5 trials correct for 3 out of 5 days. What's missing there? This is a little challenging for you. It just shows there's nothing missing. We have the condition, given her phone number and distractor. What Jerry's going to be doing is independently pointing to her own phone number. What's the criteria? 4 out of 5 trials, and she's got to do this 3 out of 5 days. For non-examples, what's wrong with the way these following tasks are written? So Sherry will participate in an inquiry-based lesson with physical assistance for 4 out of 5 trials. There are a number of things wrong with this. First of all, we do not know what Sherry's being given. We don't know the condition. Second of all, when we use words like will participate, it's very hard to measure that. We do not know what participate looks like. So the behavior that we're looking for in this is very difficult to define. In the next example, given a book of her choice, Lynn will read a book independently. What's the problem with the issue with this? First of all, we need to look, is there a condition, a behavior, and a criteria for mastery? Well, no, there's no criteria for mastery. And for the behavior, read a book independently. What does read a book actually entail? Again, it's very difficult, and if you and I were looking at that same task, we might measure it differently or mark it differently because we don't know what really read a book looks like or what those specific explicit behaviors would be. In the third example, given a crosswalk sign, Joel will cross the street safely on 8 out of 10 occasions. What are the issues with that? Do we have a condition? Given a crosswalk sign. Do we have a behavior? He's going to cross the street. Do we have a criterion for mastery? 8 out of 10 occasions. Well, poor Joel, on 2 of those 10 occasions, he's going to get run over by a car. So that's not very good either. We want to make sure that when we're looking at the skill or the task that we're working on, that the criterion for mastery we select is appropriate for the task.